Hey there, I'm Louie, and in this video I'm going to be showing you how to crochet an amigurumi bat. But really quick, this video is brought to you by my Halloween pattern bundle, which includes all of these patterns that you see right here, like a zombie, a Frankenstein monster, witch, a werewolf, a vampire, and a ghost. And the cool thing about them is that they're all finger puppets. So you can find the patterns, you can purchase the bundle at clubcrochet.com/Halloween. Or if you're a Club Crochet member, you'll get access to all these patterns, and you can learn more about Club Crochet memberships at clubcrochet.com. But in this video, we're going to be making this little amigurumi bat. So let's move these guys to the side. For this pattern, I'm using all worsted weight yarn, and I'm just going to be making my bat without a face, so I'm just going to be using purple yarn. You'll also need, because I'm using worsted weight yarn, I'm using a size G 4mm crochet hook. You'll need some stuffing, a pair of scissors, and then some safety bead eyes for the eyes, or you can use bullion knots if you don't have these eyes. Okay, well, without further ado, let's get hooking. Okay, so to start, let's make the little ears on the top of his head, and these are very simple to do. We're going to start with a slip knot, get our crochet hook in there, and for the ears, all we have to do is chain 2, 1 and 2. Now we're going to pull that second chain kind of tight and into the back loop of the first chain we made. So if here's the 2 front loops. If we turn it on the side, see this loop on the back? That's our back loop. So we want to take our crochet hook, get into that back loop there, okay? And we're just going to do a single crochet. Okay, so I yarn over, pull through, then yarn over again and pull through both. Okay, and that's just gonna make a little tiny ear thing. And we're just gonna pinch that end like that to make it a little pointier. Now you can cut the end. We'll chain 1 and just pull it all the way through. And we'll sew this onto the top of our bat's head. You want to make 2 of these. Next up, we'll make the wings. Again, you want to make 2 of the wings. We're going to start with a slip knot. And we'll start by chaining 8. Okay, so chain 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And again, we're going to be working into the back loops of these chains, so this little spine here. Okay, so we're going to start by skipping this first chain, and we're going to get into our second chain from the hook right there. And whoops, there we go. There we go. And we're going to start with a slip stitch. So we just yarn over and pull through and then through the loop. Okay, and it's going to make kind of a point on the end. Now in the next 2 stitches, we want to do a single crochet 2 together. So to do that, we go into the next stitch and pull a loop through. Then we go into the next stitch, pull a second loop through, and then pull a third loop, yarn over, pull a third loop through all 3 of those loops. And that's going to kind of decrease it down to make the wing a little bit straighter. Okay, now we're going to do a mini picot. For a mini picot, you want to chain 2, 1, 2, pull that second chain kind of tight, and then we want to go into that back loop right there of the second chain from the hook and do a slip stitch. So we yarn over and pull a loop through and then through. Okay, and that's going to make another point, kind of like what we had at the end there. Okay. In our next stitch, we want to just do a single crochet. So we get into that next stitch and just do a single crochet. And then we want to do another single crochet 2 together using the next 2 chains. So we go into the next loop, or into the next chain, pull a loop through, then into the next chain right here, pull another loop through, and pull a final loop through the 3 on the hook. Okay. All right, now we want to do one more mini picot. So we chain 2, 1, 2, pull the second chain tight, then get our crochet hook into the back loop of the second chain from the hook and do a slip stitch. To finish these wings up, we're going to do a single crochet into the final chain here. Okay, there we go. Now we can cut the yarn we'll chain 1 and just pull it all the way through like we did for our ears. Okay, and you want to make 2 of these, and we're going to sew them onto the sides of our the body of our bat. Okay, so for the body of our bat, we want to start with either the magic loop method or the chain 2 method. I'm going to use the magic loop method, just like so. Get my crochet hook under these 2. If you want to learn more about the magic loop method, I think I'll put a link right here or in the description. And we're just going to pull that under those 2 loops, yarn over, and pull through. Chain 1 like that, and pull it off of our finger. Okay, so into the second chain from the hook or into the magic loop, we want to single crochet 6 for round 1 of the body. Okay, so we're just single crocheting 6. The body's going to be worked in the round, meaning that we don't have to turn around for the entire body. It's just, we're basically making a little ball. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, so now we can tie this a little bit tighter. Okay, and that's going to be the end of round 1 for the body. For round 2, we're just going to do an increase into each stitch around. So we're going to count back 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's our first stitch right here. Since we're working in the round, get into that first stitch. And we're going to do an increase, meaning 2 single crochets into that stitch. I'm going to work around this tail end just to hide it a little bit. So we're just doing an increase. 1, 2. Okay, so that's 2 single crochets. And we're going to do that in each stitch around. And because we had 6 stitches, we're going to end up with 12 stitches by the end of round 2. Okay. Get a little bit more yarn. Okay. So that's going to be the end of round 2. You should have 12 stitches around now. For round 3, well, before we get to round 3, let's cut this end just to get it out of our way. So don't really need it. Okay, so for round 3, we're going to do a single crochet into the first 3 stitches. So 3 single crochets in a row. So we got 1, 2, 3. 3 single crochets, and then we're going to do an increase into the next right here. So 2 single crochets into the next stitch, an increase. Okay, so that's 4 and 5. So we got 3 single crochets and then an increase. We're going to repeat that 3 times total. So let's do our second repeat now. 1, 2, 3 single crochets, and then an increase. Okay. There's our second repeat. One more repeat of this. And by the end of this round, you should be going up from 12 stitches to 15 stitches. So you should have 15 stitches by the end of this round. Okay. So that's going to be the end of round 3. For our next 3 rounds, that's rounds 4, 5, and 6. 3 rounds total. We'll just do single crochets into each stitch all the way around. So we just want a single crochet into every stitch around. And there should be 15 stitches in each round. So do 3 rounds of 15 single crochets. Now, as I do these single crochets, I just want to say, first off, thank you so much for watching this video. If you like this video, please let me know by liking the video down below and subscribing to the YouTube channel so you don't miss it when I come out with new videos. I'll be coming out with a video pretty soon for how to crochet a skull, and it's probably one of my most difficult patterns that I've come out with, but it is so very cool. Here, I'll just show you really quick. This is what they look like. They're like little crocheted amigurumi skulls, and they can be pretty tough, but even though they're difficult to make, they're very quick to make. So you can make them probably within 30 minutes once you know what you're doing. And they just look so cool. So yeah, make sure to subscribe down below and like the video. And comment down below if you have any questions whatsoever, or if you just like this video. Commenting also helps the video get seen by other people. And so I really appreciate that. All right, so we're at the end of round 2 of our 3 rounds of single crochets. Okay. I always go a little bit overboard when it comes to Halloween. I always come out with a little bit too many patterns because I love Halloween. It's a really great holiday. I've always been a pretty big fan. Last year, me and my girlfriend and our other friend went as the Boo Man group. We dressed up in blue sheets, and we were the Boo Man group. We had holes cut in the eyes. I was pretty proud of that one. All right, so that's going to be the end of our 3 rounds of single crochets. Now we can add the face and all of our pieces. So we're going to pull this out for just a second. So before we continue our crocheting, let's add our pieces together. So to start off, we can add our ears. So, actually no, to start off, let's add our eyes. Eyes are a little bit easier to find a spot for. So I put my eyes into round 4. I use these little safety bead eyes, and like I said in the beginning, you can use bullion knots if you don't have these safety bead eyes. But I go into round 4 and I look at, this is the end of our round, so I want that in the back. And round 4 is going to be just above our last round of our last round of increases. So there's our increasing right there. That's our last round of increasing. So we're going to go above that, probably like right there. Looks pretty good. And our second eye, we want 4 stitches away. So 1, 2, 3, 4, right there. And this is just where I put my eyes. You can go a little bit further away, or you can really do your eyes wherever you like them to be. I think that looks pretty good though. It looks pretty cute. And we'll go ahead and lock these eyes in on the inside. Okay. And next up, we'll add our ears. So we're going to take our little ears, and they have 2 little ends here. And you can see that they kind of barely curve in like that. It's kind of hard to tell, but there's the inside. So I want this closer to the middle of or to the top of our bat. So we're going to thread that end. And we're going to put the ear above the eye 2 rounds up. So like right there. So like right, yeah, that looks pretty good. Oh, that's the wrong eye. Let's go with this eye, my bad. 2 rounds up. 1, 2. Okay. And we're going to put the other side right here. So I just went 1 round under where we went in with the first tail. Okay. Looks pretty good. And what I do with the ears is I like to pull the knots so that the knots pull almost all the way through. See how those knots are pulled out from the inside? And we'll just double knot those. Okay, and we can cut the ends. And we'll do the same on the other side with the other ear. I'm going to pop that ear back out. There we go. And by doing those knots like that, it really maintains that the ear is sewn on very tightly and it won't kind of pull out. Okay, so 1 more ear. There it is. And we'll do the same thing here. You can see that's the outside curve, so we want this inside curve closer to the top. So I thread that first. And like we did for the first ear, we're going a couple of rounds above the eye. 1, 2. Let's go like right there. And then 1 stitch under that right here. Okay, so that's where we went in the first one. There's our second. We thread the second one on the needle. And we'll do the same thing that we did for our first one. We want to pull it through enough so that these knots get pulled through the holes of our piece. Now, check this out. I accidentally went through that round with our piece, so I'm pulling it out under that. That's something you got to be careful for whenever you're making amigurumi. Because if you accidentally tie that together, it's going to really screw you up as you continue going. So be careful about that. Happens more often than you'd think. So just don't double knot it if you accidentally do something like that. Okay, we'll cut these ends. All right, so now we have ears, we got our eyes. Now let's do sew on our wings. And the wings are the same exact thing, so you can see the curve, meaning that I want the top one right here closer to the top of our piece. And for the wings, I follow the ear down, and I go one stitch under, pretty much the same stitch that the eye is on. Okay, and the wings I make tilted backwards like that. Okay, so I go through this one and through this one, so that they're tilted downwards. Okay, so we got one. There's our second piece right there. Thread that on the needle. And we're doing the exact same thing that we did with the ears, where we're getting that knot pulled all the way through our piece before we knot it together. Okay, so there you go. You see those two knots just barely sticking out there. Tie that together. There we go. And we'll do the same thing on the other side with the other wing. All right, there we go. One wing down, let's do the other side. Okay, so that's where I'm gonna want the first half. And again, we want the top sewn on first. We don't want to sew it on upside down by accident. That would be a goof. Okay, one side through, and then the other way around. So last time we had it tilted this way. This time we want it tilted this way. So we're going to go through this stitch right here for our second one, so that it's tilted down. So that way he looks like he's mid-flight. All right, now I'll knot these together. Now normally, if I was making these, this face, sometimes actually, not normally, but sometimes I do a little derpy like face on him. And I actually have a tutorial showing exactly how I make a derpy face. You can check it out. I'll put the link on the screen now or in the description below. But I have this little tutorial for how to make a derpy face. I also sometimes embroider on some teeth. It's something I've done in the past, little fangs or something. But for now, I think we've got a pretty good piece going on right here. All right, so let's continue our crocheting. All right. Okay, so for our next round, I think we're on round 7 now. We need to do 3 single crochets. So 1, 2, and 3. And now we want to do an invisible decrease. For an invisible decrease, we're going to go into the front loops of the next 2 stitches. So there's a front loop. We're going to go over. There's the second front loop. We're just going to single crochet into those 2 front loops, and that's going to decrease us down 1. Okay? And we're going to repeat that 3 times total. So we're doing 3 single crochets and then an invisible decrease. So let's do our second repeat. 3 single crochets. 1, 2, 3. And then our invisible decrease. Okay, there we go. And one more repeat of that. And this is going to bring you down from 15 stitches to 12 stitches around. 1, 2, 3. And then an invisible decrease. Okay. Now, here, if you wanted to turn this into a finger puppet, like I have the rest of the pieces, now is when you'd want to start working into the finger puppets. I have a few different ways that I like to do finger puppets. One way is to make it go out like that and then tuck it back into the body. Another way is to make a separate piece that you stuff in and then sew it together. I'm going to do a video soon about the second way to make a finger puppet, but I actually have a video right now showing how I did the first way to make a finger puppet. Again, there should be a link, here or in the description. But for this one, I'm just going to sew it together. Just have it be a little ball, maybe turn it into a keychain, be my Halloween keychain. So what we're going to do is we're going to for our last round here, we're going to decrease into each stitch around. Now I'm going to do a sharp decrease, meaning that I'm going to go into the next stitch right here. We're going to pull a loop through. Then we're going to go into the next stitch over, pull a second loop through, and then pull that second loop through the 2 on the hook. It's kind of like a slip stitch 2 together. And that's going to really pull it together. And we're going to do that 6 times in a row. So here's our second one. 2. Let's keep doing it. 3. 4. 5. As we get closer here, you can't really fit your finger in there, so you just kind of have to pinch it together to get those next ones. 5. And here's our last one. We go pull through, and then we go this one and pull through. And we're decreased down. Okay, and you can see it really pulls it in. All right, so to finish this up, we're going to cut the yarn and just pull it all the way through. And now we want to stuff it just a little bit. You don't need to overstuff it at all. The cool thing about this crochet hook is it's got like kind of a rubbery back. It makes it very easy to stuff pieces in. I got it over the weekend. We'll just go ahead and stuff a little bit of our stuffing in there. Again, you don't want to overstuff it. If you overstuff it too much, you'll start to see the stuffing through our piece, and we don't want that. Okay. All right, and there we go. There's our stuffing. Now we can just sew it closed. So we'll just thread this onto a needle. And I basically sew it together by using an asterisk, sewing onto the bottom. So if you look at the bottom here, I count up 3 stitches, 1, 2, 3. I go down through that stitch and then across through the stitch across from it. And then I continue doing that. So I go into the next stitch over right here, go down and across. And I'll just keep doing that until every stitch has an end. And after I have a stitch through, I can pull that second one tight. Okay, so here's our next one. We count over, boom, down through that one and across. Okay, we'll pull it a little bit tighter now. And then finish up by going down through the one next to that right here. We'll go up through the body. Okay. Then back down and down through the bottom. It'll kind of knot it up. All right, you can cut the end, and there we go. And that's how you crochet a little bat. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, again, please like and subscribe down below. If you want to check out more of these patterns like a zombie, a werewolf, a witch, a vampire, you're gonna want to turn this bat into something, or a Frankenstein, or a little ghost, and turn them all into finger puppets, check out the link in the description below right here, or by going to clubcrochet.com/Halloween. Thanks again for watching. Pasta la pizza, and happy hooking. Bye.